I am here to talk about this Lionsgate portal. So, I'm going to tell you what the Lionsgate portal is. I have some notes, y'all, because y'all know had this talk before. But the Lionsgate Gate portal peaks every year on August 8th. So, 8/8 is the peak of the Lionsgate portal, but it actually goes, I believe, up until the 12th, and it starts the end of July. So the Lionsgate portal is when the sun is in Leo, the sign of courage, radiance, and self expression. The star Sirius, our spiritual sun, aligns with the earth, and the Orion's belt aligns with the pyramids of Giza. So this portal has been revered for thousands of years, especially in ancient Egypt at a time when higher frequencies of light pour into earth, activating DNA upgrades, psychic gifts, and soul remembrance. So remember that as we go forward. So, why is it powerful? The number 8 in numerology represents infinity. So, think about the infinity loop. 8, the infinity loop, abundance, and divine balance. So, these are things that are happening in this portal if you take advantage. So, Leo rules the heart chakra. So this portal activates your ability to lead from love and not fear. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. Sirius brings in galactic wisdom, healing light, and soul mission codes. Yeah. So it's huge, y'all. It's really big. And so I wanted to share what it was before I told you what I felt, what I've been dealing with as far as these energies. And it was the first time for me ever dealing with it in this way. Y'all, I mean, it kind of almost took me out as far as energetically. So, energetically, what's happening is the Lionsgate acts like a cosmic frequency shower, cleansing out lower timelines and infusing your energetic field with divine confidence, multi-dimensional remembrance. So, you are remembering things from everywhere and all the dimensions, which is what has been happening for me. Upgrades to your intuition, spiritual gifts, and creative expression, the courage to shed what no longer aligns. And so I'm going to share with you toward the end the thing that I'm doing for the Lion's Gate, and I would suggest that you do it as well if it aligns with you. If you felt more emotional and fatigued, yes. Heightened dreams or messages from spirit, yes. A pull to release, write, cry, create, and be still. Yes. And so all of those things were happening for me. Like I am not typically a crier. Like I just don't do it often. Um I try really, I don't know. I think because I stayed so in my divine masculine for so many years, I just don't typically do it. And so when it happens, it still tends to surprise me, even though I am in this state of allowing these things to happen that I know need to happen. Um, so what's happening is you are syncing with this upgrade or rewiring, as my teacher, Miss Blue, said. We are rewiring in this time. And so when I think about that, I think about all of the things that happened and things that went on. And for me, what it did was it brought up so much emotionally, which like I said, I just told you that is not me, but it brought up so much emotionally for me. I was actually crying and in tears as I was writing a letter, and then as I sat down to journal on it, because that is one of the things that I did. I sat down and I just started writing all the things, and it started bringing up things from my past, from my childhood. Because for me, I don't tell a lot of people, but I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I really don't. I think for some reason I blocked that shit out. And I don't really know why I blocked it out. So I've been doing a lot of inner child healing. I've been doing a lot of journaling and coloring with my coloring books. And I do word finds, but I do that also because it's a healing practice that I'm doing for my brain, for myself, from healing from the long COVID. That was something I started doing more because I always did it, but I'm more consistent with it. And so I do that to help me with that and some of the energies around. And so a lot of things started coming up for me. because I've been on this quest to see why it is that I chose my parents, and nothing wrong with them, no shade to them. But I just wondered why I would have chosen them. And I did a video earlier, which a lot of you have watched because it got over 1,000 views. Thank you. And it was, why would you choose unready parents? And I said unready because my mother was 18, my father was 17. So I didn't think they were ready at that time, and they didn't either. But I wondered that, and I asked that question, to spirit. And so during this Lionsgate, some of that stuff started just flowing through me, you know, and some of the emotions that I think I had suppressed started coming up. And so I believe that this is a part of the purpose of this Lionsgate portal. And what I've learned is that the portal is not just a portal, the portal is us. So it's a flow through. And so as I started really diving into this thing, and then the other thing that happened to me is I got so sick. Y'all, this is the first day that I've been out of bed all week. Like, I literally have been in the bed all week, because I just felt so bad. And I couldn't figure out why. One of the things I thought was maybe I people too much last week, because I did a lot of people last week. Went to a bunch of meetings and met a whole bunch of people, and I'm in a new place. So that's something that I enjoy. But I thought maybe I people too much. But as I started just doing my research and I started diving in and I started listening to spirit, I was like, okay, no, this is something else. This is these crazy energies that are going on in this Lionsgate portal, and so some of the things that we can do is we can create a sacred space. Okay. We can create a sacred space. And they say with gold, orange, and white candles. But what I say is use what works for you. I mean, you might not have those. You might not have no money to go buy them. I don't know. You might not have time to go out and get them. You know what I'm saying? So just use what feels appropriate to you, but use some candles, you know, write a letter titled, I remember who the fuck I am. Write a letter so that, and you're telling yourself, and truly, to me, it's like you're validating yourself. And so that's this time period that it feels like for me. Because, like I said, I've been in the bed for 3 days. I felt so bad. I mean, just exhausted and burnt, and, my throat hurt, everything. So I haven't been live or any of that stuff all week. This is the first day. But I wanted to come on here and talk about this Lionsgate portal because I know that if I'm dealing with it, probably many other people are dealing with it as well and don't realize, because I didn't realize. I did not realize. I had class last night. I'm in an amazing frequency class with the incredible, incomparable Ms. Blue, the Oracle, and we actually talked about this last night, and that's what made me understand. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I can see that now. And then as I sat down and I was doing my work, and when you do your work, whatever that is for me, that's, meditating, praying, talking to God, fasting, all of these things. And so these are things that I was doing. So as I was doing my work, then I realized that, I need to decide, some things that I'm releasing. And so I would say list 8 things that you're calling in and 8 things that you're releasing. Kind of sort of like when you do the full moon meditations and the new moon meditations and all that. So list these things that you're calling in and the things that you're releasing. And so for me, I've listed a whole bunch of things that I'm releasing already. Some things like fear, but what happened is so many things started opening up to me that I've been asking questions about. I've been asking spirit questions about all of these things, and things just started, showing up for me. Like, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get the answer because, you don't always get the answer just because you ask it, or you don't get it when you think you should get it. And that's a whole nother story. And that's a whole nother thing, because patience has been a thing, because I have decided that I am patience. I'm not asking for patience. I ain't looking for it. I am it. I am embodying it. So I don't know if you know what that journey is like. When you are embodying patience, my God, you get times to see if you're really telling the truth or if you're just lying. So I just decided that I am embodying patience. That's what I'm doing. I'm embodying patience. So just because it doesn't happen when I want it to happen, because that's what happens a lot of times, we want things to happen now, yesterday, 6 months ago, whatever. And many times it don't happen like that. But sometimes it still does happen. If it's supposed to happen for you, it's going to happen regardless. And so, list those things. I would write those things down. Write down 8 things that you're calling in, 8 things that you want in your life. Things, people, places, whatever. House, car, whatever. Emotional stability, even, is another thing that people call in that probably need to. 8 things that you're releasing. So for me, I'm releasing fear, fear of judgment. I'm releasing fear of, and here's one thing, y'all. I used to have this fear that if everything was going right, then something was going to come up and go wrong, and it was just going to be sideways. And this was a fear that I had that I did not realize I had until this day. I think I realized it, but I don't think I wanted to acknowledge it. Let's say that. So I'm acknowledging that I had this fear that, everything is going right. Oh my God, it's looking so good. And what's going to come, what shoe is going to drop? What thing is going to happen that's going to change all of this stuff? But here's the thing. If you can keep that frequency, that whatever it is that you want, you have, and that, excuse me, and that everything is always working out for you, I'm telling you, when you get to that place where you're keeping that frequency, it doesn't matter and you won't even feel that, but it's one of those things, it's a process. It's something you have to embody. It's not even something that you have to get. You have to embody it. I mean, you have to actually become it, is what you're doing. And so another thing that you want to do during this time is you want to speak your desires out loud under the sun or the stars, which is serious. You want to visualize a golden light spiraling into your crown, into your heart, and into your womb, or let's say your sexual organs for men. And then you want to seal it by saying, I activate my highest timeline. I open to receive divine remembrance. I am the embodiment of God's light in human form. And so it is. And let's anchor it. I am a vessel for divine light. I speak with the voice of my God self. I am infinite, abundant, and free. And feel how it feels when you say those things. And don't just say them. Take a deep breath. Put yourself in a space where, you can feel and begin to drop into your body and stay out your mind. Drop into your body. Drop into your body, y'all. Drop into your body because that's where you make the most aligned decisions. So, Um, I hope that Lionsgate Energy Portal is serving you well. And I hope that, some things are coming up for you because I'm telling you, y'all. I mean, even some things about when I was raising my kids came up. It's like, um, I always felt like because I never really wanted to be a mother, but when I became a mother, I knew that regardless of what anybody else did in my children's life, I was their mother and I had to protect them. And I had to guide them and I had to nurture them and I had to love them. One thing about my youngest, my son, is I didn't want any more children. My daughter was the oldest and my son is the youngest and I didn't want any more children. I just didn't. And honestly, it was because I felt like I was raising children since I was 10 years old. And so I was tired, you know what I mean? And I had my daughter and my ex was already cheating at that time. And so I knew that I wanted to leave him at that time. And 10 months later, I was pregnant again with my son and I was on the pill. So to me, I felt like God was punishing me. I was like, God is punishing me because I don't want to do this anymore with, especially not with this man. You know what I mean? Like it was my husband now. I would gladly have done it. But with him, I didn't. Mm-mm. And so, but you know what? He came, and what I did was, for probably about the first maybe 2 or 3 years of his life, I think I was probably absent numb, is what I think I was, because I did have two babies. Okay, I did have two babies. I did go back to school when the youngest was 14 months old, so I was in school, you know, with these two babies, and not a huge hell of a lot of support. I had less support than what I thought I was going to have, but here nor there, whatever, we made it through. I finished school and all that stuff, and it was good because I needed to support these babies. But I realized one day I was not being the proper mother to my son. My daughter I was, but I was not being a proper mother to my son. So what I did at that time, which I didn't even realize I did this until later when I started looking back, but I sat down with myself and I had a long conversation with me. And I said, you have to be a mother to this child because if you don't, he's a black boy. And we all know where they want black boys to go, where they want to put them. They designed, they built prisons for them from birth. You know what I mean? And when I had my son, I could hear the words of the rap song in my head. A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God is smiling on you, but he's frowning too because only God knows what you'll go through. And this was what was running through my head when I was giving birth to this young black male. Because I know that we live in America and, they have a problem with black males. And so, but this was going through my head. And so at the time, it's like um, I tried to spoil him because I didn't want him at first. You know what I mean? And so when I finally reconciled that I am his mother and I have to guide him and I have to discipline him and make sure that he's good so that he's not killed at the hands of the police or something like that. You know what I mean? So many things. And so I took some time and I nurtured and loved on, the woman that I was because I did have two babies in 19 months, right? And I had to love on the woman that I was, that I was becoming, that I was stepping into, and I had to discipline this child. And so I see it so much with people, especially with boys, because I'm telling you, they say that black women love their sons and raise their daughters. And I could see that I was doing that, but I could see the template and the blueprint before me, from the past. And so I was determined to break generational curses, number one. Number two, I was determined that this child was going to be somebody. He was from my loins. He was going to be somebody. I was determined. And so I knew that I had to make some changes in the way that I was raising him. And I did. I did. And the thing about him is he had a prophecy before he even came here. My grandmother spoke over him in my womb. She didn't see me. I was here in Washington State. My grandmother was in Georgia, so 3,000 miles away, and she was prophesying to my baby in my womb. And I can actually see, the fruits of it now that he's in his 30s, but it's amazing to see. And so that actually brought me, as I was in this time in this portal, all of this stuff started coming up for me. And I was, wow, wow. And then I thought about, the fact that I wanted to break generational curses in so many ways. And one of them was, you know, we had a problem on my mom's side of the family where a lot of the boys, weren't graduating from high school. I think out of the boys, it was probably about four of them, my cousins, first cousins, that graduated from high school. A lot of them got GEDs, dropped out, all kind of stuff. And I wasn't willing to, I wasn't doing that. And so I told my son, I said, no, we are not doing that. I don't care what anybody else is doing. This is what we're doing. You are graduating from high school at the very least. And now that boy is getting his master's. That same child that I, as a mother, took him to the military school and told him that that's where he was gonna go if he didn't straighten up because he was just cutting up, and he was acting out. His father and I were getting divorced. He was a teenager, and it's how they do. But I was determined. I said, I don't care what's going on. That don't have nothing to do with you. So this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna graduate high school, regardless. And so I feel like with that, I was a chain breaker. I was a chain breaker. So with that and with, shifting the way that I raised him because I used to let him get away with too much stuff and I realized and it was because I felt all of this guilt because I didn't want him. I mean, and it wasn't him in particular. I just didn't want no more kids with that man, but I felt like God wanted him here and, apparently, maybe so his daddy could have a legacy. I just don't even know. But, here we are. But this Lionsgate portal just brought all of these things up for me. And so what I'm saying is I believe that this Lionsgate portal will bring things up for you to heal or for you to see that you healed. Because sometimes it's you need to see it, you know? And y'all, I'm looking around because, the bear was here the other day. Those of you that don't know, I live out in the country and bears run across and one ran across my yard the other day, but I was in the house then filming it. But yeah, so, don't be afraid of it is what I want to say. Because for me, I felt like I was afraid, to see these things and afraid to to bring them up. But you know what? You can't heal what you don't see. You cannot heal what you don't see. And many times, I don't know about y'all, but I have pushed things under the rug, just shove it. You know what? It didn't happen. And I think about it now, I'm like, I did Neville Goddard techniques before I even knew. Before I knew what I was doing. I just said, you know what, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Yeah, that was terrible, whatever, whatever. But you know what? It didn't even happen. It didn't happen. So I revised it. You know what I mean? And I've done that, I think, all my life. And I think that's a part of why, I just didn't remember a lot of that childhood because, I honestly don't think, I can't really remember anything that was like super bad. Um, like I wasn't sexually or physically abused or anything like that. I rarely ever got hit. I mean, I probably got about 4 whippings in my whole life that I can remember. But, nothing really crucial and crazy, except for some things I did see that I do remember, like I'm not going to talk about it here on the airwaves, but some things I remember that I probably shouldn't have seen, but I did. I was there and it happened. But yeah, so just use this Lionsgate portal for what it is. It is a huge energetic portal, and it is so phenomenal for bringing things to the surface for you. And then I would advise, and I would tell you to understand that this is not an ordinary portal because really you are the portal. That's why the things are coming through. The emotions are coming out, man. Healing is coming up because that was the thing. Y'all, I mean, I literally was down for the count for 3 days. Today is like the first day that I'm actually not in bed all day. And, I feel I was like, man, I don't even know what this is, and I didn't realize until I did. And so now I'm sharing with you guys. The Lionsgate portal is the truth, y'all. It's the truth. And I want y'all to make sure that y'all check out my podcast, Straight Out of Savannah, where the magic happens, where I interview amazing spiritual entrepreneurs, psychics, mediums, channels, holistic healers. And if you're any of those numerologists, astrologers, human design people, if you're any of those people and you want to come on the show, just hit me up. Hit me up. You'll find all my information in the my details in the thing. You can send me a message or however you do it on here, do the chat or something, comment. But you can also find me on YouTube at Intuitive Tammy as well. And you can find me on TikTok as at Intuitive Tammy. You can find me on Facebook at Tammi Morrison. And also, I have a membership. Remember who TF you are. And I would love for y'all to come and join us. It's $25 a month. I always tell people it's less than a Starbucks coffee a day. It's really just an energy exchange right now. Of course, the price will probably go up a little bit. Like I don't plan to raise it that much, but yeah. So come and join us. $25 a month. We do about 2 Zoom calls a month, and then um any workshop that I do because I'm about to start doing monthly workshops, and I have one coming up on the on the full moon in September, and I think it's the 21st. Don't quote me, but I'll post some stuff about it, or I'll share when I come back on again. But it's divine intuition activation. And so I would love if you come and hang out with me on that. That is one of my monthly workshops that I'm going to be doing. And so if you are a member, then you get to come to those workshops. I'll make sure that you get your invite and stuff like that and come in the Zoom room and, let's have a good time and chill and do some things. And make sure that y'all are sharing this out and inviting other people to this page because y'all know I have lots of goodness. And then check out my Stand Store as well, Stand Store at Intuitive Tammy, where I have all kinds of resources, some paid, some free. I have a forgiveness letter that just is banging. That thing is banging, and I'm telling y'all it is because one of my beautiful sisters got it and she was like, wow, that thing just really helped. And it did because I've done it myself. That was one of the reasons why I put it out. And then if you're looking for love, I also have a Manifest Love bundle. It is a workbook as well as a meditation to help you to align to love and manifest your soulmate. And it's not super long and super crazy, so it ain't gonna take you 12 years to do because those things irritate me. I don't even like them. I have lots of those things in my inbox that I just look at and I'm like, this is too much. I work, I do things, all this stuff. I ain't got time to be, doing another college course for a little course. So I try to create in that frame of mind so that you are able to get what you need without having to be, you know, um, without having to be um, in your email for 12 years. Like it ain't, yeah. Yeah, I just don't try to do that because I know I can't do it. Especially at this point with all the things that I'm dealing with physically. I'm like, nah, I can't. I just can't. It's too much. But anyway, so those things are there for you. And I would love it if you follow me at Intuitive Tammy on YouTube as well, because I got lots of goodness over there, over 1,000 videos over there on my YouTube channel. And I am working to monetize that. So I would love it if you would follow me there and share that out as well. So again, have a wonderful rest of your day, your night, and your weekend, whatever it is. I may pop back in tomorrow. We'll see how I feel. But just know that the Lionsgate portal is for you. And if you're Leo, and especially pertinent for you. I'm a Leo rising, so it's definitely my season. So again, thank you for joining me, and I really appreciate you. And I would love it. Like I said, check out my podcast, Straight Out of Savannah. It is right here on Substack, and I have another one that will premiere with life coach. What is it? Master life coach Thomas Stockwell on tomorrow at 5:11 p.m. Pacific time. So make sure that you check that out and see what he's got to say because he's a nice gentleman, and you may learn something. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.